Wait. Huh?
Wow, the academia sure is busy during the day. But where should we go looking for people that we know?
Traveler, Paimon.
CYNO! It's been so long since we last saw you!
As do you. You don't seem weary at all from your travels. If anything, you seem stronger. So, what brings you back here?
Oh, nothing in particular. I just saw a really big mushroom out on the road the other day and suddenly missed all our friends in Sumeru.
Funnily enough, we were reminiscing about you recently too. It was at a group dinner. I look forward to hearing about your travels. Something tells me we must have a lot to catch up on.
Really? You were thinking of us too? What a coincidence!
Indeed. Or as I call it, the biryani factor. You really want me to say the rest? Okay. It's always rice to meet stew again.
Oh, darn, he said it.
You like that one, huh? You must if you remember it after all this time. Admit the truth. You have long been in awe of my razor-sharp wit.
All right. Here's your 500 Mora.
You're exaggerating. It's only 500 Mora.
Hey, 500 Mora is still a lot of snacks to Paimon.
All right. I'll treat you to some desserts later. Anyway, I'm actually investigating a case right now. My mind is focused on work, which is why I didn't complete the joke at first.
A case? What happened?
Nothing major. But after finding out who was involved, I decided, on reflection, to handle this one myself.
Need any help? We only came here to hang out, so we've got the time. You may as well take us with you, and then when you're done, we can, you know...
Such enthusiasm. Are you worried I'll forget about treating you to some sweets if you're not around to remind me?
What? No!
Obvious enough. Still, it's a fine idea. You are the heroes of Sumeru. It makes perfect sense. All right, follow me. Do you see him? The old man flailing around?
Oh, is he the one you wanted to talk to about the case?
Correct. His name is Cyrus, a former Spontamod sage. He taught both me and Lisa.
Huh? CYNO's teacher is in trouble?
It's ridiculous. I'm just an old man who enjoys a spot of gardening, shopping, and wine.
Professor, I've brought some friends.
Ah, CYNO. Now who do we have here? Hold on, let me think. A flying fairy dressed in white? A youth who does not seem to hail from this land? My goodness. You must be the legendary traveler in Paimon. I've heard all about what you've done for...
Wow! Looks like we're really famous!
I've told him about you before. You are my friend. That's right. Let me summarize the situation. A couple of days ago, Professor Cyrus suddenly received a threat letter.
A threat letter?
Exactly. Who sends a threat letter to an old man like me, for goodness sake?
This is the letter in question.
Cyrus, I have uncovered your secret. If you wish to prevent it from going public, leave 10 million mora at the back door of the cafe. Secondly, don't come looking for me. You'll never find me. But I will always be watching you and all of your secrets. Finally, if you dare to report this to the Matra, there will be consequences. Wow, they sure didn't mince their words.
Clearly, this person must be desperate for mora.
10 million mora, what a joke. I'm just a single retiree with nothing to my name beyond the tomatoes in my garden. Where do people think I'm hiding 10 million mora, huh?
There were no witnesses, so currently the letter is all we've got. So, Traveler, Paimon, let's put our heads together.
Paimon's ready too!
Alright, take a look. Do you see anything suspicious? Very good. The paper has a rather rough texture. It's not the typical kind you see in most books.
Another thing is, some of these strokes look kind of blurry. Could there be an...
Possibly. And I bet the paper has something to do with it.
Most of the paper around here is much smoother than this, and the ink is absorbed quickly so it doesn't run. This paper, meanwhile, it's very coarse-grained. Almost as if it's...
It's certainly not the same paper as we use in the academia, but the ink is nothing special. Just regular black ink that gets a blue tinge when applied to paper.
So do we think the culprit has a connection with the Wait! Check this out! Looks like this part...
Agreed. The staining suggests it was a colored liquid, not plain water. It also looks like it was wiped off.
A colored liquid, so... tea?
Looks like we're thinking along similar lines. Let's go talk to Arof. There are some things I'll need him to take care of.
Arof.
Mahamatra CYNO. Sir Cyrus. Ah, and the Traveler and Paimon.
As such, I'm inclined to believe that the culprit in this case is a student at the Oh, one last thing. I'd start your investigation by taking a look.
Oh, of course! You think the culprit spilled their coffee on the ladder, huh?
They do look like coffee stains to me. Also, if I'm not mistaken, The letter is written on a type of scented paper that has aromatics added during the manufacturing process. The kind often provided as writing material for customers in cafes and
Ah, of course! Yes, like they sell in the gift shops. I remember now. Zaha Hadid bought some a while back. She said she was going to use it as wrapping paper for a vase.
Understood. I'll assemble a team to investigate the points of it.
You have my gratitude.
One last thing. Send some Matra to guard the entrances and exits of Sumeru City. And change into plain clothes. Don't let them see you coming.
Will do.
Great thinking, CYNO. So, where do we... Yeah, they've probably been lying low at home waiting to see how...
You're right, Paimon.
Really?
The culprits approach. Whatever happens, they need this Mora. But just because they warned Professor Cyrus not to go to the Matra, doesn't mean they know what he'll do next. And crucially, the culprits said they'd be watching...
Huh? Wait, are you saying...
Found you!
What?
You wrote the threat letter!
I don't know what you're talking about. What threat letter?
I sensed someone was watching us from the shadows the moment we entered the House of Dana. You managed to stay relatively well hidden, for someone reckless enough to threaten Professor. There are a lot of people here, but we were looking specifically for Arav. Whoever followed us the whole way was likely to be the culprit.
I was just listening in, that's all. You know something big's going to—
You smiled when Arav left. I saw it as clear as day.
Is smiling a crime now?
There are coffee stains on the letter. You mixed some coffee with water, gently smeared it onto the paper, then wiped it off. Closing off the exits to the city doesn't affect you, because you already live here. The cafe was a red herring all along. You
can't pin this on me! I haven't—
Really? Then why are you The innocent have no Your heart's racing, and your eyelids are twitching.
I would never—
Don't try anything or you'll pay the price. Now come with me.
Well, that was over quickly, CYNO.
You're telling me. 1 minute I go out for a quick smoke, the next minute I see Arav already on his... looked like a young guy, too. Couldn't have been much more than 30. But after...
Everyone, it's all over.
Gosh, that was so fast!
The culprit's name is Uraka, a 16-year-old student in the Rataoist Darshan.
Huh?
16?! Cyrus thought he looked 30-something!
We checked his records. He's 16, a third-year student.
But he looks so old.
Yeah, seriously!
Foolish child. He's too young for the criminal life.
We questioned the culprit regarding his motives. He,
Oh, just spit it out. Nothing can
Very well. It's our understanding that Araka is a mediocre student who has been underperforming in his classes. He started taking extra tutoring to improve his grades, but developed a gambling habit around the same time and lost a lot of money. Down on his luck, he went to the tavern for a drink and overheard some people chatting about Sir Cyrus's comfortable retirement. They mentioned that he's always arguing about his tomato plant.
Some old woman on the street? Goodness gracious. Has that rascal attended a single one of his classes? That old woman is Kasharwar's very own professor, Zaha Hadid. How can he not know who Zaha Hadid is?
Is this going somewhere?
Oh, right, yes. So another thing. We don't just argue about tomato plants. And what are they trying to insinuate by comfortable retirement? A man grows a few...
Maybe it's more the fact that you have the time to grow vegetables in the...
Araka mentioned he'd heard a rumor, alleging that Sir Cyrus illegally obtained a large sum of money from the desert before retiring, and kept it for himself instead of reporting it. Araka believes this money to be the reason why Sir Cyrus hasn't kept up with any academic research or other projects since his retirement. And given your advanced age, he thought you'd be an easy target to...
Oh, Araka. I'm at a loss for a word.
People make up rumors all the time. I am quite confident that Professor...
Arav, You'll have to find some excuse to interrogate Araka again later. I need you to deliver a few firm fistfuls to him on my...
I completely understand how you feel, Sir Cyrus.
Professor, there's no...
Oh, come on. I was clearly...
Okay.
The Academia will determine the appropriate disciplinary action against the student. And as for the individuals spreading rumors about the professor's obsession with tomatoes and some old woman on the street, there could be a slander case.
Who said I'm obsessed with some old woman on the street? You seem confused. Uraka is just a young boy who made a very rash and very stupid decision based on some... All it costs me is a little reputational damage.
Please rest assured, Professor, that the Academia will issue...
Yes, I have no doubt about that. But as a former educator, I'd still like to have a serious conversation.
Correct.
We looked into the family. Both parents are merchants and they're often away on business. They've...
Oh, what a mess. You don't have to seal the evidence away yet, do you? I'd like to have that letter back for the time being, if possible. We have to show them how serious this is.
The relevant authorities have already reviewed the evidence and are now discussing Araka's punishment.
Oh, so you'll be able...
Give or take.
Very good. Well, thank you for all your help. Perhaps we can all go for a meal together. Oh, my treat of...
My apologies, Sir Cyrus, but I have a prior commitment.
Ah, I see. Well, that's a pity. Ah, and isn't Tighnari in town at the moment?
Wait, you mean Tighnari's in this?
He is. Tighnari's master, Sir Nephis, called him and Kale to the Academia to help out on a project. Though I must say, I'm surprised you're extending an invitation to Tighnari. Did you do something to offend Sir Nephis?
Don't be outrageous. Nephis offends me all the time. It's never the other way around. Anyway, hurry up and fetch Tighnari. Go on now.
Time to go. Time to go. Time to go.
Not to brag, but we never had problems like this at Ratawa Hiss back when I was still teaching. They were students at the time. They'll tell you what it was like.
I was out in the forest at least 4 days a week back then, thanks to a colossal workload from Master. It wrought havoc on my poor tail, so I didn't exactly keep up to date with what was going on. Most of what I know, I heard from CYNO after the fact.
Professor's become a lot more laid back in his retirement. He used to be far stricter, and was especially known for being
Wow. It's hard enough to stay true to your principles as a normal person.
It's a pity Kale wasn't around at the time. I would have happily taken her on as a student.
And then we'd have one more person who has to address Lisa as upper-class woman.
Really? Can't you just call her Lisa? She seems to prefer it when people treat her like an older sister.
Oh, believe me, back when she was a student, nothing made her happier than the younger students acknowledging her seniority.
Whoa, more food? Are you sure about this? We don't want to take it to the end.
Oh, don't worry about it. Order whatever you like. And if it's not enough...
I thought I heard some familiar voices. Ah, and Sir Cyrus is here as well.
Oh, Kaveh, it's been a while. Zahahadi was talking about you last month. How have you been?
I've been all right, thank you. You're looking very well, sir. I'm glad to see it.
Have you eaten yet? Care to join us?
That's awfully kind of you, but I had a late lunch, so I'm not really hungry just yet. I'll have dinner a little bit later tonight. I just came to Lombard's to buy some wine, and when I heard some voices I recognized, I thought So what's the occasion, anyway? Some sort of...
consolation, more like. You wouldn't believe...
Sounds like things have really gone downhill since I was there. My whole time as a student, I've never heard of anything remotely...
I can't believe how young the guy is.
Young people are always more susceptible to making rash and ill-advised decisions. Their minds are still developing. It's just an unfortunate fact of life. But still, this boy has some nerve. Just look at what he wrote.
Wow, yeah. Gee.
I will always be watching you and all of your secrets.
If this were my son, he'd...
Luckily, I'm also an extremely principled
Kaveh! Your order's ready, sir!
Coming! I'll have to get going. Have a nice evening, everyone. I'll catch you all another time.
Okay, bye-bye!
Here I am. The coffee beans are in here, too.
Yep, it's all there. I'll stop babbling away now. Let's eat.
Oh, too tasty.
Oh, mine too. I'll have to walk home to burn some...
Thanks for dinner, Sir Cyrus. Master Tainari and I will bring you some homemade herbal tea next time.
Well, I look forward to that. In fact, could I trouble you to bring a little extra for the other old folks on my street?
No problem at all. I'll pack...
I'll see you all later. I better head home now and tend to the crops.
Good night, Professor. Don't let those tomatoes keep you up too late.
Hey, my tomatoes are serious business. I am not about to be beaten by Zahahadi. Anyway, I'll be leaving now. Don't stay up too late now, children. I bid you all a good night.
Take care. Have a safe trip home.
All right. Now, we finally have some us time.
What do you mean, us time?
Well, I was talking with Tainari and Kale, and since we all have some free time, we thought we could all go camping.
Camping? Oh, that sounds fun! Paimon's in! Right? It's been so long since we did something fun together. I can't wait!
Everyone, let's meet tomorrow afternoon at the riverbank to the southeast of Gandharvaville. No need to bring anything. We've already packed everything for the trip. Just bring...
You got it! We'll be there!
Great. Then we'll see you tomorrow.
Makes me laugh every time.
Wait. Huh? No. There have been many poorly written applications lately. I guess I'll just have to reject them all.
Time to set off! Let's head to the southeast of Gandharvaville and meet up with the others! Wow, you guys are ahead of the game! You set up the tents already!
I'd say we're right about on schedule, actually. We were aiming to have them...
Traveler, Paimon, let's go fishing together. Whatever we catch, we can grill for dinner tonight. You got it! Dinner's on us tonight!
I hope I can contribute too. The other forest watchers gave me some fishing tips a little while ago. I'm really looking forward to...
I saw some very appetizing mushrooms in the area, so I gathered a few for us. I'll leave them here along with some fresh fruit.
Wow, camping with a forest watcher is the way to go! They think of every...
This is true. I don't think I've ever had a single rough day in this forest.
So, how has everything been going for?
Well, there's been some high points and low points, but we've had some
I see. Oh, in that case, you should try a valberry. I bought some from the market this...
A valuable suggestion. Just don't bury your feelings using...
all I wanted was to recommend something bittersweet.
Oh, I have a sudden craving for fruit tea. I'm gonna go fetch some stuff. Bye!
She sure made a run for it.
Unbelievable. She made a run for it.
So Kale chose the path of tactical retreat. Could it be... My dear friend, you know what I am about to say. Excellent! A kindred spirit. A great warrior can sense when a duel is nigh. But it looks like we'll get told off if we start playing now. Let's enjoy the nature for a while longer.
We got a bite!
I'll reel it in.
Firewood, spices... There are 3 tents. Which one do you two want to take?
How about the one on the left? Well, Paimon just thinks the ambiance here is a little better.
True. But it's also the closest to the water. If there are any sleepwalking fungi around tonight, they might stumble into your tent.
Well, that's no good. Take my weapon. You can use it to bar the entrance.
Anyone would think you were sealing the gates to King Deshret's mausoleum.
Excellent. Then this tent will be an impenetrable fortress.
I'm back! How's your appetites? Ready for the barbecue?
Always. Oh, it smells so good.
Someone sure is desperate to eat. I think it's time to add the seasoning.
Wait, what? Isn't that just for steaks?
Hey, if it works for steak, maybe it works for other things.
Medium well for me.
Okay, these are about ready now then. It'll be a few more minutes for anyone who wants theirs well done.
Oh, that was so delicious. If Paimon's stomach had space, she'd eat 3 more scoops.
I ate a lot too.
If you're tired, then go rest.
You must be getting sleepy too, Paimon. Why don't you guys head to your tents? CYNO and I will clean up.
Tonight I show you mercy. Our sacred duel will take place another day.
Good night.
Paimon's struggling to keep her eyes open.
Oh, don't forget this. The Staff of the Scarlet Sands.
Wait, you were actually being serious about that?
It's a very powerful weapon.
Paimon can't even lift that thing.
Fair enough.
Yeah, Paimon, sure. We'll be fine. And even if we do get an uninvited guest and...
That reminds me of a parting king of invocations. But right now, it's time.
I think they should all be here. Traveler? Paimon? Are you in there?
Look at this.
What the? What's this sword doing here? Is it supposed to keep out intruders?
Evidently.
Huh? Who is it? Paimon's gonna take out the sword. Yeah! Oh, hey them, Kaveh! What are you doing here? It's the middle of the night!
Sorry to wake you up at this hour of the night, but we've got a situation on our hands.
Let's get dressed and talk about it outside.
Something has come up. And since it pertains to Cyrus and CYNO, I deemed it essential to inform you.
Whoa, back up. Let's start from the beginning. Where'd the wine cups go? I could have sworn I left them here after I washed them. Ah, there they are.
I'll have a cup too.
Can you see if the cookies are still on the table?
They are. And so...
Oh, this is so bland. I should have gotten a few bottles of what CYNO's group was drinking last night.
Do tell. What were they drinking?
Oh, right, I forgot to mention. So, I ran into Cyrus yesterday evening when I went to the tavern to pick up some things. He was hosting a dinner for CYNO, Tighnari, Kale, and the Traveler and Paimon. Anyway, they got a bottle of Lombard's new vintage for the table. At least, I think that's what it was.
Sounds like they're all tangled up in...
You know what it's about, right? 16-year-old kid tried to extort Cyrus.
I heard some people talking about it on the streets, yes. Didn't take them long to catch the culprit.
I wonder what Sir Nephis and the others will make of it. Oh, Cyrus showed me the extortion letter, too. It was crudely written, but the paper had this beautiful pattern on it that I've never seen before. Give me a sec, I'll sketch it out for you. Okay, done. Take a look. You see what I mean? I don't think I've ever seen writing paper like this around before. God knows where the culprit got it from.
Interesting. These are all motifs associated...
What? Really?
Take this, for instance. Looks like an outline of a spire, similar to the kind found on some ancient palaces. And the crisscrossing and mirroring, it bears a striking resemblance to an ancient emblem, one that hasn't been used.
Whose emblem is it?
It's the emblem of the Temple of Silence.
After discussing it with each other, we both agreed that something didn't feel. This was a long way to come from the city. Alhaitham figured you were probably with Tainari, so Gandharvaville was our first stop. Then, just as we were heading off to the campsite, we ran into CYNO. He said he was on a supply run.
Hold on. So what's the deal with that emblem you were talking about?
Something's up, huh? Give me a second. Let me get Kale.
So you've never heard of the Temple of Silence? Well, these days, you can find a Temple of Silence office in the academia. Theoretically, it's responsible for the custody and disposal of information and documents not fit for public dissemination. At least, that's what they tell the outside world. In truth, it's essentially a vestigial institution nowadays. There's an office with their name on it, but it's historically speaking, the original Temple of Silence is said to have been established by Hermanubis, one of the 7 pillars of King Deshret and the greatest of all sages. By contrast, none of the Academia Temple's current members are from the desert region, nor do they use any symbols connected with the desert.
So the Temple of Silence at the Academia is just a fake?
It's possible. The real question is, why?
So, how do you know all this? Sounds like some...
Did you forget? He did a stint as acting Grand Sage, and kept the pay raise even after he resigned.
Oh, yeah! Paimon did totally forget about that. So you took...
If you're asking me whether I familiarized myself with the documentation in my office, I would respond...
So much about this doesn't make sense. Why did the emblem of the Temple of Silence appear on a threat letter from an Academia student to Cyrus? The student's only 16, and doesn't have any family ties to the desert.
You said you ran into CYNO, yes?
Yep. He ran off as soon...
Given that Cyrus is involved, he's probably halfway through solving... Still, we should try to catch up with him. At this hour of the night...
If the Academia's Temple of Silence really does exist just to cover up the truth, the sudden appearance of this emblem can't be good. We should pay a visit to...
Yes. As the Sage of Amorta, my master ought to know the truth about their office. You can ask him...
If this situation is connected to the real Temple of Silence, the emblem has to be part of a bigger...
Kale, could I trouble you to send a message to the Core of 30? Tell them to keep an eye out for CYNO and... Traveler, Paimon, you two come with me.
Sounds like a plan. Let's go.
Cyrus has been living in the city lately. He rented a place near the field so he can keep an eye on his tomato plants.
Then let's go look for him there.
Here we are.
We might be too late. Looks like nobody's... Oh, CYNO moves fast. If he was here, he's...
I know that voice. Is that Tainari I hear?
Ah! Professor Zahahadi!
Wow, so it really is you. My goodness, whatever is...
We're looking for CYNO. So, he's our...
Yes, not long ago, in fact. He knocked on my door and asked if I'd seen Cyrus. I told him the old fool left early this morning, and I hadn't heard him come back. So we went to his place, and would you believe it? He's gone. Goodness knows where to. It must have alarmed CYNO, because he took off in an awful hurry after that.
Well, if Cyrus isn't at home...
Professor, did you hear that a student recently tried to extort...
Why, yes. When I left the house that day, I noticed he was watering his flowers in the field in complete silence. He had a piece of paper clutched in his hand, and I could tell something was troubling him, but he wouldn't tell me what it was. After seeing the letter, CYNO told him to contact the Core of 30, but Cyrus was very reluctant. He claimed it would only damage his reputation. Eventually, he relented.
Huh? Cyrus didn't want to report it? Well, that's strange when we...
As a former sage, it's possible Cyrus still has enemies at the academia. That's why CYNO was so insistent that he report the matter to the authorities.
So Cyrus initially hoped to stop this from going public.
Oh, dear. What on earth has that old fool gotten himself Oh, I almost forgot. CYNO left me this letter to pass on to you. He wrote it when he came by earlier. He realized you might come looking for him.
Thank you.
What does it say? What kind? My friends, this is a rather complicated state of affair. Unfortunately, I cannot disclose more than that. I ask you to understand and accept that I had to act alone at this stage. Don't come at—
Yep, that sounds like CYNO. Thank you, Professor. Please do not worry. We will do all we can to protect both CYNO and Cyrus. Traveler, Paimon, let's head to the...
What? But I think it's way better to stay here and study. I really want it to be the holidays soon.
You're here? I thought you were going after...
We went to Cyrus's house. No one was there. CYNO got there before us, but he was long gone by the time we arrived.
He didn't say where he was going?
No. He left us a letter and told us not to...
Can't say I'm surprised.
Typical CYNO. Anyway, some updates on progress on our end. I drew the emblem from memory again, but in more detail this time.
I checked some ancient texts for a similar design. The one I found was a little blurry, but the similarity...
Yeah, and we're lucky we found anything at all. It turns out the emblem was all but lost to history. We scoured the entire academia collection.
Meanwhile, Arav managed to get Uraka to disclose it. The one who told him about Cyrus's embezzled funds was a young man from the desert. According to Uraka, he had—
Apparently, the two met in the tavern over a game of cards. The guy claimed to be in the city for business. Uraka was intrigued when he heard what his new acquaintance had to say.
I see. So it could be that this person planted the paper intentionally.
So, how do we find this guy? Did Uraka say where he is?
He doesn't know. He claims not to have seen him since that day in the tavern. The man gave him some tips on how to carry out the extortion, but from then on, Uraka was acting alone.
Nephis and Arav have gone to meet the Core of 30 and review the— Also, Nephis admitted that the Temple of Silence in the Academia is just a facade. The true Temple of Silence once came to the rainforest to establish a collaboration with the Academia. But, as time went by, the sages gradually became corrupt and the Temple of Silence felt that they could no longer trust the Academia and ended the partnership. They retreated back to the desert about 400 years ago. Ever since its inception, the Temple of Silence has been the guardians of King Deshret's civilization and belief system. They traveled throughout Sumeru, sequestering and guarding any wisdom that posed a threat to the people's— At its roots, it was a legitimate and reputable organization whose purpose was to guide—
The Academia of the day knew that the split would damage their reputation if it became a matter of public knowledge. And so, they set up a dummy organization of their own to conceal—
Not only that, but they managed to keep up the charade for hundreds of years!
So how did Cyrus become acquainted with the true Temple of Silence if they
I'll bet that's the question that bothered CYNO. Probably why he went after him in such a rush.
Whoever is behind this, getting Uraka to extort Cyrus was only the first step of the plan. Their true goal in doing so was for Cyrus to see the emblem on the left.
He must have recognized it right away. That'll be why he didn't want to involve the authorities. He probably hoped to take care of the whole thing.
Since the desert is where the Temple of Silence originated, that is—
I have to go after him.
Really? Are you sure that's a good idea, with how you respond to the heat? Why don't we send someone else?
I should be fine, as long as I bring plenty of water. Besides, I just can't shake this ominous feeling that—
Everyone, I have news from the Core of 30.
Master!
Oh, so that's Nafis, Tainari's master?
It's a pleasure to meet you, Traveler in Paimon. Several independent eyewitnesses have reported seeing Cyrus and Mahamatra CYNO leaving the city at different times. Both were heading in the direction of I was going to suggest that you join forces with the Core of 30 in this case. However, as I'm sure you've already heard from Al-Haytham and Kaveh, the Temple of Silence, the Academia has made a number of decisions throughout history that I am ashamed to talk about. It may well be that no better choice was available to them, but those actions are nonetheless a stain. I won't attempt to make you understand the Academia's perspective. Now is the
I understand where you're coming from, Master. But I'm afraid the situation might be more complicated than we thought. I think we need to keep a low profile.
Good point. If Cyrus is involved with the other side, or worse, if he's fallen into their everyone, we have to get Cyrus and CYNO back.
Need our help? Whatever you need?
Really? Wonderful. Arav and I will continue to follow up on the lead from Uraka. Kaveh, Tainari, you are planning to go into the desert.
I am. Kaveh, I'll be okay. You stay behind to help Master.
Well, if you're sure. Okay.
Thank you all. Arav, let's go.
You'd better get moving. Don't forget to ask for help when you need it.
Will do. Let's go, Tainari. Hopefully we can catch up with CYNO.
Knowing him, he's probably covered a fair distance already. But we still have a shot.
Please show me your credentials.
Okay, we made it to Caravan Ribat. Maybe we should ask...
Hold on. Look over there.
Is that Dia?
You sure you want to brave the desert alone? I mean, it's your choice at the end of...
It's not my first time. I'll be fine.
CYNO.
If you're really going to go through with this, then at least take our advice. When you're packing for your trip, budget for 5 days more than you plan to spend out there.
Makes sense. Okay, I'll go get...
Thought we might find you here. You're trying to retrace Cyrus's steps, aren't you?
Didn't I tell you not to come after me? I thought I had a good lead on you.
Well, sorry, but we never agreed to that. Why would you go off on your own like this?
Nothing personal. It's just a complex situation. And I'd rather not involve anyone else if I can help it.
Takes a special kind of person to get CYNO chasing them all the way out to Caravan Ribat. But why so coy today, huh? You only gave us his age and description. Why can't you reveal his name? Is he Sumeru's most wanted or something? Oh, also, hey guys, it's been a while.
Dia and Candace! So nice to see you. Actually, seeing all of our friends is the whole reason we're here.
You're looking well. Glad to see it. Candace and I came to Caravan Ribat on business. We ran into CYNO as he was asking about some elderly gentleman's whereabouts. Some people say they saw him. Guess he stood out as an older guy heading into the desert alone with just a sumpter beast in tow and very few supplies. That's gotta be one heck of a story there.
CYNO, it's okay if you can't tell us anything about the case, but let us know how we can support you. We're here to help however you need. The more people we have...
No, it's not that simple. If I'm right, he'll be doing everything he can to avoid us.
We spoke with Zaha Hadid. From what she said, it's pretty clear that he wants to try and solve this on his own. It won't be easy trying to find him in the desert when he's still...
Sounds like this is far more complex than we...
Still, if he started from Caravan Ribat, the chances are that his route took him past our village. You may as well ask if anyone there has seen him.
My thanks to you both. Once this is resolved, I will find a way to...
Come on. No need to get all serious. Just buy a round of drinks next time we're all in the city or something.
That's a deal.
All right. So, you all set?
Yes, we'll handle it from here. Thank you again for your help. I don't take it for granted.
All right. Then we'll leave you to it. Just remember, if you change your mind and need some reinforcements, we'll be here.
And don't think you'd be imposing. You can depend on us.
Don't worry, we'll keep him out of trouble.
CYNO should count himself lucky that the Traveler and Tainari got here when they did. What was—
The desert tests the character of all who enter it, and only those with wisdom and courage shall prevail. But take heart. With his companions by his side, no harm will come to CYNO.
Hold on. There's a few things I'd like to clear.
Go on.
So, after you left the campsite, we had a longer talk.
Clearly, we've only scratched the surface of the Temple of Silence question. It doesn't surprise me at all that the one in the academia is a fake.
Do you have any connection with the Temple of Silence?
I do. I trust you're all aware of the spirit that gives me my power. Hermanubis, the original founder of the Temple of Silence. Due to my unique constitution, I was put through a number of trials in the desert when I was younger. Later, I met the professor, and he brought me to Sumeru City. But my memory of that time is hazy. I can't recall much. It's a good thing that Kaveh noticed the emblem on the letter. Without that, I don't know if we would have connected the dots and realized there was more to this case. I did not recognize that symbol at all. Whether that's because I've never seen it, or because my memory fails me, it's...
Yeah, you're right. Thank goodness for Kaveh, and for all Haytham's diligence during his time as acting Grand Sage.
But Cyrus must have recognized it right away, right? Otherwise, he wouldn't have had any qualms about you reporting it. Oh, maybe...
I suspect so, too. Professor has never once mentioned the Temple of Silence in conversation. And whenever the conversation turns to Hermanubis and the concept of spirit indwelling, he avoids going into any depth.
Well, speaking of avoiding things, you do realize, don't you, now that we've caught up with you, you're stuck with us for the rest of the way.
I am aware. And I have accepted it. Or rather, I don't see how I could manage to ditch you en route, so I might as...
That's right. Fact is, we're coming with you whether you like it or not, so the best option now is to try to look out for each other. Ha!
Fair enough. Then at least let me buy you a drink once we're back in the city.
Works for me. All right, off we go. Let's start by seeing what the guards here can tell us.
Hello.
Mahamatra CYNO?
I'm looking for someone, so I'd like to confirm any recent foot traffic in and out.
A man matching that description passed by Aru village not too long ago. He stopped by to load up on food and water and feed his sumpter beast, then he was on his way.
Where was he going?
Let me think. He took a seat by the entrance of the village for a while, and had a brief chat with the person who came to deliver the water. He said he was headed somewhere near an oasis, but he didn't mention which one. Do you have a map? I can mark out the direction he was heading and the best routes to any nearby oases.
I have one. Mark?
Great. There you go.
Thank you so much.
You've got a really good memory.
Ah, you're quite welcome. Just doing my job. Best of luck. I hope you find him soon.
Curses. There's sand in my shoes.
Hold on. I see some people over there.
Do you think it's safe to ask them?
Should be. I'll go.
No. I'll do it.
Huh? Why can't CYNO go talk to them? What difference?
Given my background, appearance, and the way I dress, I might not be the most welcome visitor here. Just in...
Ah, hello there. I hope I'm not interrupting. My friend and I are looking for an elderly man who's gone missing around these parts. Any chance I could ask you a couple...
Oh, a missing person, huh? Sure. What do you want to know?
I'm just wondering if you've seen him. Let me give you the detail.
So, a silver-haired guy in a long robe, culture type with thoughtful eyes.
He'd stand out like a sore thumb around here.
Yeah, sounds like the kind of guy we'd remember if we saw him.
He's looking behind me.
Uh-oh. That guy's looking our way.
Your friend over there stands out a lot, too. Hey, aren't you CYNO, the General Mahamatra?
Yes, that's me.
You don't seem surprised that I recognized you.
It wouldn't be the first time.
Oh, you're the one looking for the old man who's...
I have a bad feeling about this guy.
Someone's on edge. No need to hide it. I understand why you're wary of us. Still, you came to us
I thought you were a group of merchants. Seems I would...
Your henchmen don't look like much. But something tells me they put up a better fight than most mercenaries.
Hey! Hear that, guys? You're my henchman.
Suits me. As long as I get paid.
Just cut to the chase already. I'm running out of patience.
All right. Come with me. All of you. Don't you want to find your friend? A silver-haired, long robe, culture type with thoughtful eyes? Sounds like there's a whole other side to Cyprus.
So you know where he is?
Just follow me. I'll take you to him. And here.
What? Where are you looking?
Please step back.
Whoa! Something's coming out of the ground!
What is this enormous building doing here?
And how was it so well hidden? King Deshret's technology?
Wait, so... Hold on!
Is this the Temple of Silence? So you're a member?
All good questions. There'll be plenty of time to address them later.
This is not what Paimon was expecting to find in the desert, especially not hidden right next to an oasis. Oh, Paimon's scared. They must have kidnapped Cyrus. Do you think this is the god?
What's wrong? Thinking about your professor?
I just hope for your sake you haven't done...
Me too. I hope I haven't done anything to incur your wrath. Alright, you can wait here for now. I'll inform our leader that you've arrived at the Temple of Silence. Sit tight until he comes.
So he's just gonna leave us here unattended? Maybe we're not being kidnapped after all.
They can't have been at the oasis by chance. They were waiting for us. Whoever the leader is here...
So this is the Temple of Silence. After leaving the rainforest, they hid themselves here?
Hey, look! That guy's coming back.
Don't worry. Someone will come and call for you soon.
What's your name?
Sorry, guess I was so delighted to see you, I forgot to introduce myself. My name is Sethos. I'll be here if you need me, but I'm not planning on answering all of your questions. Other than that, you can occupy yourselves however you see fit.
So we're free to explore by our...
Yep. I mean, I'm not worried about you running. Cyrus is here. And unless I've misunderstood, you're all...
He's right. Well... I never imagined that the...
That's King Deshret's technology for you, I guess. It borders on the miraculous. Amazing to think that it's been preserved intact all this time.
We should be wary of our hosts. Still, at this point, we can be confident.
Hey, Sethos!
Sure. Although, I'm assuming by chat, you mean not often. The Temple of Silence is a place of quiet and solitude. We don't get too many visitors. Yes, that was me. Although, tricked is a stretch. He was asking everyone in the tavern about ways. He insisted that nothing was off the table, even if it broke the law.
So you framed Cyrus for a crime that he did?
No. That's not entirely true. Let me Of course. Uraka was a great accomplice, really. Very cooperative with a little bit of wine in him. Did exactly what he was told.
Why did Cyrus leave for the desert as soon as he received the letter?
You'll have to ask him that one yourself. Certain things I can't. All you need to know is that he recognized our emblem. And it was... What kind of question is that? He's the General Mahamatra. Everyone...
Right, but back at the oasis, you can't have known who he was for sure. or you wouldn't have asked him. So, what were we—
I've lived in the desert my whole life. Guess you could say I've never had the pleasure.
Ugh, why does Paimon feel like this guy's not be—
Come on, we've only just met. If I give you all the answers up front, nope, not one.
Really?
I have no need to go there. Not when the taverns are full of the Urakas of this world. Besides, spies? It's not as clandestine as that. The city gates are wide open. Anyone's free to walk in. Mm-hmm. Ah, here he is. Grandfather, the person you wish to see is here.
Well done, Sethos. Greetings, one and all. I am Ba Moon, the current leader of the Temple of Silence. I know why you are here, and I thank you for your patience.
Professor!
Cyrus, are you okay?
Ah!
Watch what you're doing!
Oh, my apologies. We have no intention of causing you distress. But you must understand, Cyrus is of great importance to us. Cyrus owes me his life, and to the Temple of Silence, he owes a debt of gratitude. I let him go a long time ago, but—
I wanted to end my feud with this old bag of bones before you caught up with me. But you just leave, CYNO. This is a matter between us two old men. You're all too young to get involved.
So that's why you didn't want to report the letter. You'd made up your mind to come here from the beginning. You only left in such a hurry to try and—
Some things in life catch up with you, no matter what you—
CYNO didn't make us do anything. We came here for the same reason he did. To rescue you. We'd appreciate you telling us the truth. Otherwise, it seems a little—
My secrets are secret for good reason. Bringing them to light can—
You're afraid, aren't you? You can't bring yourself to speak of your past deeds to the students you nurtured. You recognized our emblem because for many years you lived among us. Indeed, you knew as soon as you saw the letter that we, not Uraka, were the ones speaking to you. It threatened you only because you know what you did. For you, Cyrus, are a traitor. You once shared your learning with us, and joined us in our mission to revive the might of Hermanubis, to bring new hope, new opportunity. But then, you betrayed us. You bargained for your independence with your past contributions. And then you left, taking with you Hermanubis' might and the wielder of his power. We both know what I said to you that day. That as the leader, I grant you permission to leave, but that one day, the sands of time will catch up with you. And when that day comes, you must pay the price you owe.
You really know how to hold a grudge.
Hermanubis' might? And the wielder of his power?
Does he mean you?
Professor, anything to say?
But Moon is right. I came here once before. He rescued me from the brink of death once, many years ago in the desert. When he learned that I was a scholar, he invited me to come here and revive the might of Hermanubis together. It was a great, daring plan, and one shrouded in secrecy. The Temple of Silence had been bereft of Hermanubis for too long. The strength of its faith and its warriors were waning. Bamoon proposed that we implant bar fragments, shards of Hermanubis, into the bodies of suitable vessels. If the experiment was successful, the spirit of Hermanubis would then dwell within the vessel. Many believers volunteered themselves for the experiment. But we soon discovered that the bodies of grown adults could not withstand Hermanubis' power. In the end, Bamoon offered his own adoptive grandson. One other child was identified as a suitable vessel, and his parents agreed to release him into our custody in exchange for a small fortune. These two children were our only hope for hosting Hermanubis' power.
For many years, the Temple of Silence had been in possession of 2 Ba fragments from Hermanubis. As remnants of his raw power, they were exceedingly rare treasures. The test subjects were sent into a room that had been prepared for the ceremony, and instructed to approach the Ba fragments, whose power had been amplified. If, after some time, this power did not repel them, this would mean that they were suitable vessels. The original plan was for a 3-stage experiment: resonance, implantation, and recovery and observation. The resonance stage went quite smoothly for both candidates. As the 2nd stage began, I realized a decision had to be made. Should we implant the fragments one at a time? This would allow us to monitor the results after the first round and adjust our plan accordingly. Or alternatively, we could implant each fragment in a different vessel at the same time and compare their effects. But as I was deliberating, both Ba fragments suddenly became active. They glowed with a light we had never seen before. I knew that if they were not implanted right away, they would disintegrate and be gone from the world for good. Our 2 vessels had both displayed great promise by successfully resonating with the fragments. Under the circumstances, the thought of implanting both fragments into the same vessel seemed out of the question. To preserve our faith and our power, we implanted each of them with a single fragment.
Ultimately, I ended the experiment and left, taking one of the children with me.
In recognition of your past contributions, I chose not to send someone to hunt down and kill you both. Your lives were spared, but I have paid a great price for your betrayal ever since. I have always wanted to see you, CYNO. Losing you and your Ba fragment dealt us a devastating blow. We've been in decline ever since you left.
I see. So that's how I gained my power.
Look, in essence, I borrowed your Ba fragment for a decade or so. And now you are seeking justice. If you want to take my life, then so be it. I'm an old man now anyway. But you cannot lift a finger against CYNO. He is the General Mahamatra. Your actions would be seen as a declaration of war against the Academia.
I'm sure you don't remember anymore, dear CYNO, but you've met us all before. You were so young then, when we all gathered around and celebrated the revival of our Lord. You and he, Sethos, you were our final hope.
You'd like me to return my power?
As a follower of Hermanubis, I have allowed this power to remain in the rainforest for far too long. Now, it is time to reclaim it.
That power is not yours to reclaim. CYNO was chosen by the gods. You cannot take what they have bestowed.
You are wrong. CYNO was chosen, but he was not the only one. My child, Sethos, has the same gift as he.
So those are your terms for freeing the professor?
Despise me all you want. My sins are my own. The Temple of Silence is an innocent party. It is because of my foolishness all those years ago that the Temple's glory has waned. And now I must take responsibility for the decision I made back then.
So what you're saying is, the power of one Ba fragment is not enough? You're asking me to return the one in my possession, so it can be implanted in him instead?
Divine power causes great suffering to those who wield it. How do you know that Sethos would be able to withstand it?
He is no longer a small child. But regardless, this burden is ours to bear, and your objections mean little given that you turned your back on us long ago.
Both my heart and mind are telling me that what you are proposing is a terrible idea. However...
Don't listen to him, CYNO. That power is no more yours to give than it is his to take. You have to understand.
I know. But if this is a question of your freedom versus a fragment of power, then... there is nothing to debate.
Sorry to interrupt, but in my view, there are a number of contentions here that still need addressing. Say that CYNO refuses to return his power, and you also refuse to release Cyrus. Then, we are at an impasse. I find it hard to believe that you went to all this effort without planning for that possibility. You're trying to gauge where we stand while keeping your remaining cards close to your chest. Well, my stance is, put the rest of your cards on the table. Then we can have a discussion.
Wait, those ears... So, we have a descendant of the Valukashuna in our midst. Splendid! Fate smiles upon us after all. Everything we have longed for, Hermanubis will provide. Perhaps this very day we'll...
Why is he coughing so much? He looks like he's in really bad shape.
Moon, you...
Take our leader back to his room. Grandfather, I know what you wish to say. I don't like to drag out conversations, so I'll just cut to the chase. Had Cyrus not stopped the experiment all those years ago, the plan would most likely have been a success. The wisdom of Hermanubis would have been ours. Still, it's no use talking about what-ifs. We cannot change the past. I'm not like my grandfather. The Temple of Silence has a grand legacy and a sacred duty to fulfill. So it's somewhat inevitable for the leader to have an inflated sense of self. But I see things a little differently. I don't believe the temple has the same stature that it once did. Time has worn away at its prestige and changed things almost beyond recognition. So I'm not going to force your hand. You're all free to leave. Except for Cyrus. My grandfather gave him his chance once. And now I'm giving the rest of you yours.
You have courage and wise judgment, kid. Reminds me a lot of Bamoon in his younger years. I truly wish that the temple would take an objective look at the academia of today. You've been to the city yourself. I'm sure you've seen that much has changed for the better. And things will only continue to improve. Why not consider cooperating with the academia once more?
If you hadn't betrayed my grandfather, I might well be open to persuasion. But it's a bit too late for that now, Cyrus.
Tighnari made a good point earlier. He said there has to be more to your plan than this, and I agree. All you and Ba Moon are after is the Ba fragment. The professor will accept whatever fate you deem fit for him out of a sense of guilt. I am the one who has a choice to make. And that's how it was always going to be. Ultimately, you want to trade the Ba fragment for the professor, correct?
I'm glad to see you're giving it some serious consideration.
I won't forsake my professor, nor do I intend to run from a problem that I must face sooner or later. Give me one night to make my decision.
That works. Then I'll be waiting to hear your verdict, CYNO. Oh, my grandfather still has a fair few things he wants to say to Cyrus, so I'll be escorting him back now.
Are you sure about negotiating with him?
I need to think this through. Everyone, let's meet again later tonight. Until then, take some time for yourself.
Alright, well, don't put too much pressure on yourself, CYNO. If you need any help working things out, just come and find us.
I've taken some time to reflect on this. If I had to guess, Professor Cyrus came to the desert knowing that he would almost certainly never return. He's a stubborn man who tends to double down when he feels strongly about something. We won't get—
I agree. My master Nephis says the same thing. Once Cyrus makes up his mind about—
So that's one thing. A few other things come to mind too. You've heard all you need to hear about the Temple of Silence, so on that, I don't have anything to add. My own memories of this place are hazy, though. Probably something to do with the overpowering presence of the Ba fragments. That might explain why I suffered from constant headaches and fevers as a child. I do remember having some fleeting moments of profound emotion when vague images would appear in my mind. But I don't recall much. I was still young then, and all I could understand was that there was a strong will inside my mind. Thinking back on it now, I suppose it was Hermanubis' way of trying to encourage me, even if we couldn't communicate. The power that came to inhabit my spirit was probably one of the cornerstones of their whole faith. So if the will and might of Hermanubis is a real, intangible thing, and they are its rightful worshippers—
You're not gonna give in to their demands, are you? Surely there has to be another way!
No. I have no intention of returning it. I need this power to protect Sumeru. But the temple has the right to make the final decision over its fate, since it belongs to one of the 7 pillars of King Deshret. So I will challenge them head-on. and win the right to wield this power for myself.
This reminds me of something Alhaitham mentioned to me just before we left. He said that the Temple of Silence was originally founded by the ruling elite of the day. Traditionally, such organizations are bound by a strict and ancient code of nobility. Kaveh has made similar observations about the desert tribes from his work trips there. He says many of them have their own internal rules. They talk about the importance of never dishonoring their tribal bonds, or the rules laid down by their ancestors. I think we could turn that to our advantage. Go back to them with a proposal.
Wow, and just like that, we've turned the table.
Looks like we have the same idea. Turn it back on them now while we still can.
Great. And I know just how to start the conversation. Let's go find Sethos. We'll tell him that I know a thing or two about medicine and would like...
Sethos, let's talk.
Have you made up your mind?
We'll get to that, but first, I have some degree of medical training, so I was wondering if you might let me take a look at your grandfather?
I have no objections, although we do have our own doctors here. I doubt you'll be able to tell us anything we don't already.
Only one way to find out.
Follow me. Keep your voices down. We don't want to disturb him.
Let's talk outside. Bamoon has fallen into a deep coma, and his prognosis is quite grave. I'm sure that your physicians... He appears to have sustained a serious injury in his youth, which has been exacerbated over the years by the heavy burden of work. Regretfully, I must inform you that, based on what I've seen with patients in a similar condition...
Yeah. I've known for a long time.
You're his heir, aren't you? You clearly have a lot of respect for the man. But you also see things differently. You have a broader range of concerns and a more pragmatic approach. So tell me how we can end this on your terms. Let's find a way to bring all this to a resolution while Bamoon is still alive to see it. That's what really matters to you.
Yeah, there's no time to waste here. You know that better than it.
You know, the two of you are actually in a very similar predicament right now.
Right. And you didn't create this situation. They did, but somehow you've ended up having to make the tough decision.
You're right. We both look at this problem very differently than the people we inherited it. I accept, CYNO. This all began because of Hermanubis. So let's end it with the rite he himself created. Legend has it that when Hermanubis first arrived in Tuletula, he sparred with the city's residents. He and his two companions proved their mettle by fighting over several days, winning the support of many. That group of supporters were some of the first members of the Temple of Silence, and the sparring matches were enshrined as one of our founding rites, the rite of duels.
Sounds very fitting. I'm in.
As a fellow vessel of Hermanubis, your ties to the Temple of Silence run deep. So I will permit you to participate in this rite, along with your chosen companion.
3 against 3. Sounds good.
However, I have some additional terms. As the challengers, you must win all 3 of your fights to win. And CYNO, both of us must put our Ba fragment on the line. Letting Cyrus leave with one of the Ba fragments was a mistake. made by my grandfather out of pity. It is a long-standing issue that must be addressed for the Temple of Silence to move forward.
None needed. We're on the same page. If I win, the Temple of Silence must release Cyrus, and consider this past dispute resolved. If you win, I'll return my power to...
It's a deal. Then let's meet at the ceremonial hall tomorrow evening.
Book learning alone is not enough to cultivate intelligence. All those scholars in the academia are prime examples. Wait. Huh? No. Whatever. There have been many poorly written applications lately. I guess I'll just have to reject them all. Wait. Huh? No. Whatever.
Well, after how that went, there's definitely no turning back now.
There never was. Turning back hasn't been an option for me since the moment the professor slipped away to...
You have to win. You need this power. Both...
Yeah, that's right! Besides, it stayed with you ever since you were a small child. Surely that's a sign it thinks of you as...
Both as General Mahamatra. Yeah, when you put it that way. I've had to overcome a lot to tame this power and claim it for myself.
Exactly!
The Traveler and I will never lose.
And neither shall I. The desert was home to an ancient and great civilization that, for a variety of reasons, fell out with the civilization of the rainforest. It's just as Dia said. Prejudice has pushed people apart. But there must be personal factors at work here too. I can't shake the feeling that Bamoon cares for many more things than he lets on. And I don't think that Sethos is any kind of villain. Tomorrow.
We gather on this day to perform once more the rite of duels, with the greatest of all sages, Lord Hermanubis, as our witness, for his power and authority is present. This is our most sacred of ceremonies, and no disruption from the audience shall be tolerated. It is incumbent upon all to observe the duel with the utmost respect and reverence, representing the Temple of Silence, the Defenders.
Grandfather, you're here.
A rite of duels after all these years. I am surprised by your decisions.
I know what I'm doing, Grandfather.
Representing the Academia, the Challengers.
Ready. We will fight to have our voices heard.
Warriors, take your positions and decide. We come not to debate what brings our challengers here, nor what will become of the defeated duelists. Duelists, the might of Hermanubis himself is at stake here. Now.
Huh? Are you sure?
I agree. She's very strong. Sending her out first will definitely...
Okay, then you're second.
Sure.
We have decided.
So have we. Let's be...
Duelists of the first bout, please step forward.
Don't forget, safety first! Hey, you there! You better play nice with her, or Paimon will make you regret it!
Little bit too much chatter from the audience over there.
A swift end to the first bout. I now invite the duelists of the second bout to please step forward. When you're both ready, you may begin.
Let's begin.
Watch out!
He drank plenty of water before the bout, so he should be fine.
I'll bury you!
And Shroud! I'll uproot you! One thing after another! Let's nip that in the bud.
Thus ends the second bout.
I'm ready.
So am I.
This is the final stage of the rite. When you're both ready, you may begin.
I am Sethos, vessel of Hermanubis, grandson of Bamoon, the leader of the temple. For many years, we have kept our covenant with Lord Hermanubis by guarding the secrets of King Deshret. And even in our darkest hour, when we could not see a way forward, we chose not to abandon hope, but to embark. We earnestly sought Lord Hermanubis' wisdom and power, longing to see his spirit. Now, I will fight to become the rightful wielder.
I am CYNO, General Mahamatra of the Academia, student and successor of Cyrus, the Sage of Spantamad. I fight in defense of my power, my professor, and my nation. And you. I think you left some things unsaid. This is a sacred duel, and Hermanubis is watching. So bare your soul.
Everyone, old and young, fit and frail. My grandfather is a wise leader. He is also known to be a ruler who is not afraid to get blood on his hands. I understand his beliefs well. And I know what but our faith has held us back for too long. After I grew up, I went to the rainforest once. Times have changed. The people of Sumeru are happier and more free now than in the past. I thought about this as I stood at one of the tallest points in the city. Then I thought of you, CYNO. You and I both wield the same power. Each Ba fragment of Hermanubis stands for something different. Might, glory, and one of many others. I once thought that the nature of our fragments must be what makes us so different from one another. But
I am more than just a warrior. I am my own person.
Exactly.
The name Hermanubis has left its mark on both of us, shaped the course of our lives. So show me your answer, CYNO. Show me I can be more than my... Bring it on!
That's all you've got? What happened to searching for your answer?
fight's over. Do you yield?
You won.
Well then, looks like you found your answer.
I give his glory to you.
I've seen that light. That is the light of our Lord, the great Hermanubis, priest over all other priests. His spirit dwells within that lightning, and his will lives on. Once a warrior of Tynar, he emerged from the barren desert sands to serve the god king Al-Ahmar. After the death of the god king, Hermanubis gathered his followers and the Tynarian priests and led them to the city of Tule-Tula. There, they founded the Temple of Silence, and from that day forth, we became stewards of all knowledge that survived from King Deshret's civilization. Barely a century passed before war ravaged the desert. One by one, Eremite leaders took up arms against each other in battles that would devour what little remained of their civilization. Only the wise